What's up, everybody? StreamYard decided to have a little bit of an issue there. We tried to do the intro, and it just doesn't want to work. But what's up? Eric here, also known as Shard, back again with another 302 Birds post-game show. And what a freaking win tonight, dude. Phillies win 8-2. They look absolutely on fire. And honestly, right now, I feel like I got to eat my words because Brendan the other night said that Rob Thompson was going to be manager of the year, and I feel like he might be right because any way that you put this any way you put this lineup right now, they're absolutely on fire. But yeah, I'm really excited to get into these topics tonight, and we have a special guest tonight. You guys might have seen him in the comments a couple times. One of our absolute number one supporters. He's been on the main show as well on 302 Birds. He was on there last week on Wednesday. But what's going on, Sam? I'm finally having you on the show. I'm so excited.
What's going on, man? It's time to talk some baseball. This is a fun time right now. How could you not want to just jump on and talk some baseball?
Dude, it's amazing right now. And like we were talking about before the show, you and I were talking, but seeing them compared this year to last year is absolutely amazing. Me and Sam were talking before the show, and we both agreed. Last year, I feel like we weren't beating up on these shitty teams like we are now.
No, and here's the thing. The first key aspect of this, now, yes, Trey right now, no, but they entered the season healthy. Last year, Bryce Harper missed the first month. So you didn't have your team fully ready to go to start the season. And when we talk about beating up on lesser teams, the one thing that really stands out to me tonight. Now, I was at the game Tuesday night. Great. Cody Clemens, Bryce Harper, smacking the ball over the yard. They scored 10 runs on the Blue Jays, right? And they beat up one of the best starting pitchers in the AL. Now, the next day, they didn't look terrible against Toronto. Nola had the one bad inning. And then, of course, the bats, they threatened. They just couldn't put it all together. But how many times, Eric, over the past 2 years, has a game like Wednesday started something like, okay, now we're in one of these. We can't get guys in from scoring position. We're swinging the bad balls, and the bats are dead for like 6 straight games. How many times has that happened in the past 2 years?
In the past 2 years, I mean, it's happened a lot, especially like last season. And like piggybacking off of what you said, and I said it before on the show, every time they scored last year 10 or more runs, the next day they would come out looking like crap. And granted, that happened, what was it? I think it was against Toronto, right? The other night?
Yeah, it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday.
So, I mean, they came out looking but I mean, like, I just get the vibe this season that it's not going to happen as much as it did last season.
Yeah, and like, if you look at Wednesday, yes, they only scored the 3, but they were close. Like Harper had another ball on Wednesday that he just missed it. He took Springer to the track, just missed it. Then 9th inning, Cody Clemens just missed it. Whit Merrifield and him ended up both popping out to end the game with the tying run at second. They had chances. It didn't happen. And honestly, they only lost that game realistically because Aaron Nola had one bad inning. I mean, Nola wasn't his sharpest Wednesday, but he wasn't his worst.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't his worst. I think, overall, in every game that they played, they're making really good contact. Granted, the contact is not where you want the ball to be, but they're still making contact. And I think that's what matters the most, especially going down the stretch, is all these pitchers are going to pitch differently. But when you can kind of line up pitches that are almost similar, you're going to be set down the stretch. And I think that's honestly amazing to see in the start of this season. And I think honestly we're in for a treat going into the summer months. June Swarber's almost here. Got to get through May, but June Swarber Swarb Fest at Wawa. Wawa's favorite employees almost here. So, we'll see what happens.
But I'm not commenting on that because I'm a Wawa employee, so I'm not going to comment.
So, but getting into our first topic of the night, Ranger fucking Suarez is on fire right now. I think they said that right now, out of the 12 last starting pitchers, in the 12 starts, they're I think 11-1, but all 12 starting pitchers have been able to go in the last 12 games 7 or more innings, which I think is absolutely amazing. Again, they're 11-1 with that start. And honestly, I was looking at Rangers' stat line as well. He has the most strikeouts by looking of his career tonight. He had, I think, 9 strikeouts, and 8 of them were looking. One of them was only a swinging strikeout, which is absolutely on fire. He goes 7 innings pitched, lets up 3 hits, no runs, no earned runs, no home runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts for an ERA of 1.50. And his overall ERA for the season is still a sub-2. So, Brendan, if you're watching, you're still getting that tattoo as of right now. It's a 1.72. So he's absolutely on fire. My absolute favorite pitcher out of the starting rotation. I think my next jersey is going to be a Ranger Suarez jersey because I'm absolutely in love with this guy.
Okay, I got a funny story about how you just said a Ranger Suarez jersey. So I am trying to lack myself of making impulsive decisions. So just a really funny backstory. Last year, I went to Game 3 against Atlanta when Harper stared down Arcia twice. As soon as he hit the second one, I got up from my seat, went down to the team store, and I own a powder blue Bryce Harper jersey. Took me a while to get one, but that's just a funny backstory. But so I go Tuesday. I have a friend that said, if you can go to the team store and you see if they sell the Ranger Suarez T-shirts, like the red Nike ones. Can you explain to me, Eric? Can you explain to me, Eric?
Right?
Yes. Can you explain to me how they do not sell Rangers, but Whit Merrifield has a section?
I don't know. I mean,
offense to Whit Merrifield, but the dude's been here for 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly crazy. But I mean, with the way that he's starting right now, I wouldn't be surprised if he's sold out.
That's also true.
I wouldn't be surprised because, I mean, out of the entire MLB right now, he has, I think, top 3, top 5 ERA. So, I mean, dude is on an absolute tear right now. And I want to look at this other stat, and I took a picture of it, and I got to pull it up.
As you pull that up, piggybacking off what you said a minute ago, MLB's app updated his stats already from tonight. His ERA went from 1.72 to now it's a clean 1.50.
Shoot! All right,
and he's got a 0.72 whip.
What? Okay, I keep getting confused. What is a whip? Can you explain this to me? Because I can't find the answer anywhere.
All right, so you know how OPS is a combination of your on-base and slugging percentage?
Right.
Whip is your walks and hits combined per innings pitched. That's what it is.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Listen, yeah, I'll tell you right now.
And I couldn't find it.
I'll tell you this real quick. I'm 28 years old. I came home on a Mother's Day. I was 3 days old. I've been watching baseball. Ain't nothing much I don't know.
So
I'm a baseball freaking nut.
So out of Rangers' first 7 starts of the season, unbeaten in ERA under 2.00 since 1913. So you have, I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong, Dick Ruthven in 1979. He went 6-0, had a 1.65 ERA. Second is Ranger Suarez in 2024, went 6-0, 1.72. After him is Zach Wheeler, 2020, went 4-0, had a 2.20. Then in 1996, it was Mike Grace. He went 5-0, had a 2.77. And then finally, it was Danny Jackson in 1994, 4-0, 2.84. So out of the entire Phillies organization in their first 7 starts, he's second in the lowest ERA, under 2.0. So I think, honestly, he deserves it. And I think, honestly, if he keeps this up, he could even jump Nola for that second spot next year.
Well, I mean, Eric, let me ask you this. I know we have got so long to go, but if the postseason started today, would he not already be? Would you not already start him? Like, if you're going Wheeler, because I mean, look, as great as Ranger is, Wheeler's going to be the game 1 guy every time. No, It's no offense to Ranger. It's just Zach Wheeler has been one of the best free agent acquisitions this organization has had pitching wise in a decade. But I mean, right now, and Nola hasn't been bad. I mean, Nola had 4 out of 5 starts before Wednesday.
Nola hasn't been bad at all. He lets up at least 1 run, but I'd rather a starting pitcher let up 1 run and your batting guys come in and, clear up that 1 run deficit. every time.
Aaron Nola we know when look, we've all seen Aaron Nola pitch here for what now, 10 years, and we're going to see him for another 7. Aaron Nola gets his stuff going once the weather is consistently hot. Aaron Nola does not like cool weather games unless it's in October, and Aaron Nola despises day games. We know this. He is better at night when it's hot outside. I've been to plenty of his stuff. I was a season ticket holder from 2009 to 2015, 2016. I watched his first 2 years, and I've watched him pitch every game since. When the weather is hot, that's when he's hot. If it's if it's like March and it's 48 degrees, he's probably allowing 6 runs because he likes warm weather. This starting rotation is very easy to pinpoint what makes them all successful.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think the other thing that contributes to Nola is the pitch clock. I think he still hasn't gotten used to it. I think that's one of his major cons right now. But
he's adjusted better than some.
Yeah, I can see that. I think he still has a little bit more to go. I think compared to last season, he's definitely done a lot better with the pitch clock. But I think overall right now, starting pitching is on an absolute tear. One of the lowest ERAs for a starting 5 in all of baseball. And again, I'm so tired of the argument of, oh, well, you're pitching against the Marlins. I don't give a fuck. Everybody plays the same teams. Our schedule right now might be easy, sure. But like Braves fans, your biggest thing on Twitter right now is your schedule is easy. Okay, that's great. Your schedule is going to get easy too down the stretch. Like, do you guys not realize that? Do you not realize that everybody plays the same teams? I want you to take a moment and reflect on that. Because I don't think they realize this, Sam. I don't.
Well, here's the thing. Because I run an Eagles podcast, I have to hear schedule crap every freaking year. This is not the NFL. We don't play 17 games. This is not the NHL. Well, actually, no, the NHL and the NBA are bad examples because they play everybody too. Major League Baseball is a 162 game season. For anybody that did not know that, every team plays each other. I don't care in what order that we play these teams. It's not our fault that baseball gave us this schedule. I'm sorry, the first 3 games we played the Braves. Was I complaining? No. I don't care who they play because guess what? Right now, they're the best team in baseball. They got the best record in baseball. So I don't care. This is what you're supposed to. People forget this aspect of it. You're supposed to beat the crap out of teams worse than you. That's kind of the whole just here. Like, I'm sorry. Oh, we beat the Marlins. Is it my fault they traded Luis Suarez to the Padres and gave the Padres their 19,000th middle infielder? No, that's not my problem. Is it my problem that the Marlins made this giant circus stadium and they've only draw about 8 people a night, and that's the announcers and the people that work in the stadium? No, it's not our fault that we play lesser teams. The Braves are playing the Mets and they beat them tonight, I'm pretty sure. Are they complaining about the schedule? No. Every team plays each other. We're not in control of how they did it. It's not like we go like, okay, like in football, the divisions, like the NFC East may not play the AFC West for like 3 years or 2 years. It doesn't go like that. Everybody now, especially with the new interleague stuff, instead of interleague being like 2 or 3 weeks in the beginning of the summer, now it's all year round. So everybody plays each other. The Phillies not only have to play the best teams in the NL, now they got to play the best teams in the American League.
Right. I definitely agree.
So technically, the schedule's gotten more difficult over the past couple of years with this. If you're going to be technical about it, the schedules have gotten more difficult because sometimes the best teams in the NL and the best teams in the AL didn't play each other. Now, everyone plays each other. So what is everyone complaining about? Everyone plays each other, and they play each other 3 to 4 games a night. Like, I don't know what they want. What do they want us to go? Braves, Dodgers, Yankees, the first 12 games? Okay.
Yeah, I love the energy, Sam. I love the energy. I love the rant. I definitely agree with you.
Because I fucking can't stand that. It drives me nuts because when the Braves do it, they're the best team in baseball, and they get more MLB Network coverage than the Phillies right now, and it still pisses me off.
I think it's the same with all the Philadelphia sports, dude. I think honestly, everybody hates Philadelphia. Nobody cares.
Let me just cut you real quick. The Sixers don't deserve any national coverage, so I'm just gonna leave that there.
Sixers are Sixers. It's always trust the process, and the process never happens. But going into our next topic, somebody that's absolutely on a tear right now. And I was surprised when I saw him hit. I did not think this was going over the wall, but Johan freaking Rojas, second home run of the season, absolutely on a tear right now. He looked amazing right now. If I pull up his stat line for tonight, he had 5 at bats, had 1 run, 3 hits, 2 RBIs, 1 home run, and his average for tonight was a .234. I believe he had a home run. He had 2 singles. So I mean, he's making great contact off the bat. And like I said, I was not expecting a home run. It was not on my Phillies bingo card against the Marlins tonight, and absolutely on a tear. And even even with that, I mean, he even had like a great catch in the outfield. He stole a home run. It was on the warning track. Oh, my allergies are kicking my ass right now. But yeah, I mean, he's absolutely on a tear, and he's exactly what the Phillies need right now. You need a guy that's in the outfield that has a Gold Glove caliber that can also hit. And even with his speed, I mean, like there was I think it was during the 6th or 7th inning where he stole second base and they said he was out. And then when they reviewed it, they were like, oh, nope, he's safe. Like with his speed, there's no reason why you're not getting on base and you're not stealing bases.
So here's my thing with Johan Rojas. I understand that some fans tend to get very frustrated with him. Let me just give you a very interesting number real quick. I just looked up these numbers. Between Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and JT Realmuto. Do you want to know the combined amount of money all their contracts are worth? $925 million.
It's not even terrible. I mean, it's not great. It's not terrible.
No. This is where I'm going with this. If our biggest complaint is Johan Rojas sometimes struggling at the plate, then we're looking at the wrong picture. You can have a guy in that. What I'm going with here is this lineup is so loaded with big money players, and we haven't even talked about Bohm and Stott, who don't make that much yet. Which one day they will. They will be in that conversation. That'll be almost be a $2 billion lineup in a couple years.
Oh, for sure.
You can have like Rojas. I'm getting to the defense of Rojas here. Is like if there are weeks where he does struggle, you can get away with one dude in your lineup batting ninth as long as he's playing capable defense, and all he has to do with the plate is be average. Anything you get power wise, like tonight, that's extra. It was a great thing to see. Now, if he starts putting it together at the plate long term, if Kevin Long works with him long enough, and gets him to, because the one thing I'll say with Rojas, the one thing I like to see from him more is shoot the ball the other way. If he starts shooting the ball the other way, because that's where, if you notice, that's where the overswing comes. He tries to whiff at things outside and he's trying to pull it. If he gets that shorter swing and shoots the ball the other way, I say the same thing with Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto. When they're hitting the ball to the opposite field, you're not getting them out at all. If Rojas does that consistently, I will guarantee you he will hit 300 every year of his career.
Well, even Tom said, I think tonight, when you look at his hits, I mean, like, when you look at his hits, he hit the home run, he hit the line drive to left and the line drive to right. So I mean, he can put the ball wherever he wants as long as he gets the pitch.
Yeah. It's just a little bit, and it's also just a little bit of plate discipline. He has tendencies that he tends to chase the Nick Castellanos slider away, which I hate to label that on Nick, but that it is the case sometimes. And he still sometimes, especially last year's postseason, it's that that letter high fastball sometimes gets a little too high, and he's like his eyes light up. So if he can get those little things cleaned up, which I mean, who has Kevin Long not helped with their swing since being here in Philadelphia? He's helped almost all these guys.
Yeah, definitely. And like Star Wars said here, Rojas second home run this year. Yeah, I had a hot take the other night, and I'm trying to remember the exact wording that I used, but I said that I think Rojas is going to have at least 5 to 6 home runs by the end of the year. And honestly, I can see him on track for that. If he can keep adjusting his swing and adjusting his mechanics, he'll definitely be on track for that. And he could honestly blow that out of the water. I think the ceiling right now for him would probably be 10, and that would amaze me. But yeah. Also looking at comments, Chiefs King, is this the Sam guy? Yeah, this is Sam Nelson again, one of our biggest supporters right now on the channel. Got him on for the night. Let's see. Nick is my favorite player, and I hate him right now. He wasn't even bad tonight. We'll get into that in a second, but he wasn't even bad. He wasn't terrible. And that kind
Nice
of,
catch in the ninth inning.
yeah, I'm gonna use your comment, Chiefs King, to lead us into our next topic. But bats are on fire. I mean, Nick Castellanos had a home run again. That kind of came out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting that. Liam was in attendance tonight, so that's probably contributing to.
Oh, was he? Was he down in Florida with them?
Well, Nick's from Florida.
Oh shit. Well, I should have realized that.
Nick's from
You see
Florida.
what I mean?
What was that?
I said this to you. I think was it before we started? I said he is a more confident player when Liam is in attendance.
He is a more confident player, and I think honestly, if Liam can attend every game this series, Nick will be fine. Because I mean, even like you just said, what was it, the ninth inning? Nick had that amazing catch in the outfield where he got a break on the ball. He started running. He put his glove up, and the ball fell right into his glove. So I think honestly, if Liam's in attendance, which school's still in session, I don't know if I think Liam's homeschooled by his grandma, whatever.
Sick note.
I think honestly, once
You know where he's at.
Once Liam is able to attend more games, I think Nick will start heating up. And like Chiefs King said here, make Liam a bat boy, like they did in spring training. Make him a bat boy. He can be an honorary bat boy for a couple games. And Liam, if you're watching this, just remember to pick up your dad's bat. Don't piss him off again like you did in spring training.
Yes, please do not. No, actually, maybe making him a little man will make him swing better. You never know.
I hope so. But yeah, bats are on fire. Looking at the overall stat line for tonight, I'm going to pull it up here in a second. But I feel like everybody, or almost everybody, got a hit tonight. I don't think. Go ahead.
I think the only person that was hitless tonight, Cody Clemens had a pinch hit at bat, but so he was 0 for 1. But out of the starters, it was Merrifield.
Okay, so looking at the stat line, Swerber 5 at bats, 2 hits. Clemens, he only came in for 1, so I can't really fault him. He had 1 at bat, 0 hits. They were up by so much that they said, you know what, Clemens, get in there, just try to hit something. Realmuto was up at bat 6 times. He went 50%, so he had 3 hits. Harper 4, 2 hits, again to 50. Bohm 5 at bats, 1 hit. I think Bohm is kind of cooling off after his streak ended. I think he's a little pissed off that his streak ended, and he's trying too hard to get the hits back. But we'll see what happens with him. We'll keep an eye on that.
Also, let's remember he was removed from the one game with his hip was a little stiff, so maybe that's still lingering a little bit. It could be the case. So I hope it's that, because I know when Alec Bohm is going bad, and it's not sounding an alarm here, but it was tonight when he hit into that one double play, and I'm like, all right, we're beating the ball into the ground right now. So let's just hopefully this is just the hip thing. Maybe he can't really get his full extension, because I mean he's changed his swing from last year already. They were pointing out on MLB Network a few weeks ago when he was in the middle of that streak, instead of a leg kick, he's kind of developed the stride forward instead, which is why he's been able to drive the ball all over the place like he's been, but now it's just more consistent. I'm hoping it's just that hip thing it's a little bothersome and he's playing through it, but I'm not. But that's the good thing here. It's a different hero every night. It doesn't need to be Alec Bohm every night. It doesn't have to be. The one thing I love the fact that it doesn't have to be Bryce Harper every night, because Bryce Harper is carrying this lineup from 19 to 20 freaking 1. It doesn't need to be a same guy every night. That's the one good thing about this team, even with Trey Turner out. And Turner was their best hitter before he got hurt.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I think it's amazing to see that everybody each night is kind of hitting. It's not the same guy every night, like a lot of people have said in their interviews. But going again down the lineup, Casty 5 at bats, 1 hit. Merrifield 3 at bats, 0. Sosa 3 at bats, 1 hit. Pache 5 at bats, 2 hits, and then Rojas 5 at bats, 3 hits. So I mean, like I said, honestly, it's amazing to see that this team, it's not the same guy every night, and I love that. I love that it's not the same guy every night, because I love that each guy on the lineup can get their spotlight. It might be, like you said, it might be one night Bohm, it might be one night Rojas, one night Casty, one night Harper. And I love that they get their spotlight in the form of post-game interviews because, I love that. That's like my favorite thing. I don't know. You said you went to the game Tuesday, but every time I
Oh
go to
yeah.
the game, as soon as the game's over, I run right down to the dugout because I love seeing the chemistry that this team has, especially with like the
Oh, it's
daycare kids, and then just pouring water, pouring the water all over whoever gets the player of the game.
Can I just piggyback off of something you just said
Yeah.
about team chemistry? This is why, and this is for the few people that I talk to about the Phillies that bitched and complained all off season. Oh, they didn't add here, they didn't add here. This is what you get. When you have a team with this chemistry, you don't need to add another guy into this. They added what they needed. They needed another like versatile pitcher. They brought in Turnbull for $2 million, and he's actually better than the guy that's making $72 million. Hello, Mr. Taiwan, how you doing? They brought in Whit Merrifield to shore up the bench. This is how close this clubhouse is, and you know how badly it hurt them enough to lose Reese Hoskins. Forget the bat. The guy in the locker room they missed, and they couldn't bring him back because there's nowhere to put him. This is why I like what they did. They didn't bring anybody in that was going to ruffle anything. First of all, there's nowhere to play. Everybody had a spot already. This is why I love the fact that they've brought this team back every year since 2022 when they brought in Schwarber and Nick. They keep this close group together and they don't add a lot to it. They're a close knit bunch, and this is what you like to see. Because I'll tell you now, Tuesday, I was sitting at 115. I was 21 rows away. So I had perfect views of Harper's Grand Slam, which, by the way, George Springer stopped selling it, and of Cody Clemens' shot. And just watching that dugout, it's amazing. The chemistry this team has is there's no team in baseball that has this. There's none. And there's a few teams that have been around, like the Braves. The Braves don't really add much either. The Braves are kind of like the Phillies in this regard. They didn't add much. I think the biggest guy they added was Chris Sale. They don't do it either. But I don't even see the Braves with this kind of chemistry.
Yeah, I think I was talking with Brendan about this the other night. Um, I just I I don't follow a lot of other teams because I don't care for a lot of other teams. I only really follow my team, which is the Phillies. But you don't see or I don't hear about because I'm on Twitter all the time, looking at stats and looking at posts and whatnot. But you don't hear about a lot of the chemistry that these other teams had. I mean, if you look at tonight, like the Marlins, right? And Tom was making a joke about it. Their starting pitcher, when he was taken out, he like threw an absolute bitch fit in the dugout. I don't know if you saw that. He like took off his hat, was throwing his hat on the ground, was swinging his fist everywhere. He hit the Gatorade canister, jug, whatever. And Tom was like, "Well, I guess he doesn't like Gatorade. He prefers Powerade." So I mean, like, just the way that our team is, especially like when you're playing like shit on our team, we don't tear each other down, and I love that. We were talking about this. I think it was not last night because they had an off night, but Wednesday. The team chemistry, for example, Turner. Turner's been a huge mentor, even with him being out to Harper. He told Harper to adjust his swing the other night when that grand slam happened. He told Harper to adjust his swing like in 2021 when he won the MVP. The last couple years, I think it was 2022 when Bohm hit that home run in the postseason and Harper called him over and told him to adjust his swing. Again, this team chemistry is just on fire. And like David said here, it's going to be scary once we really get going. I mean, David, I think right now, I think we are going. I think we're going at like maybe a 40% pace right now. But I agree with you. Once we're on pace, 100%, it's going to be scary. I think right now they just need to work on. I think my biggest gripe with this team right now is base running.
Yeah, base running has been a gripe on them for the past couple of years, but again, there's not much you can get better at right now. There really isn't. I mean, this team's hitting on all cylinders. They scored. They like we said Wednesday. That could have started the downfall. That could have started them. And again, they're in a place tonight, which is they're basically Miami. I don't care how bad Miami ever is. Miami could be 0 and 160. This stadium has been the Phillies' house of horrors for years. They've never played well in this giant circus stadium that I call it because I'm sorry. we talk about the Rays relocating. I need the Marlins to be relocated first. But it's just they never play well here. And tonight, from the second inning, when Nick homered, after Nick homered, I said that's it. They probably got this because you're not going to hit Ranger because, like you said about Ranger getting called third strikeouts. When Ranger's hitting his fastball on the inside part of the plate to right-handed hitters, you're not going to touch the guy. When Rangers hitting that inside corner to right-handers, it's over because he's unhittable. His changeup is going to go right on the outs away. You're going to ground it right back to him. It's impossible to hit him. And like we said, back to the bats, I don't know. There's not an easy out right now. And this is what their 350 batting average shortstop on the IL for the next, about 5 more weeks we have? About 5 more weeks of Trey being out? Because they said 6, and it's been about a
It
week.
said 6. I personally, I don't think it's going to be 6. I don't think that and I'm not trying to underplay his injury because any injury is a serious injury. I don't think it's as serious as they made it seem. I think he just pulled something or he overextended something. And granted, the only injury I've ever gotten in my life is I've broken a bone, so I can't say, "Oh, I know what that feels like." But after doing a little bit of research, and granted, I'm not a doctor, so take my opinion with a grain of salt because I probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be 6 weeks. I don't, but we'll see.
Here's the tough thing with soft tissue injuries like hamstrings. If they're not healed properly, they will bug you for the rest of the year. I used to be a basketball player, and I pulled my hamstring the most simple way. I was running back on defense, and I missed about 2.5 weeks. I thought I was ready. I took that first week real slow. I didn't move much, didn't do a lot of exercising, took it my time. The second week, I revamped the shoot arounds, and that was it. 10 minutes to a game, I pulled it again, and I was out 3 more weeks. If they're not healed right and properly, now, again, look, I'm a freaking Joe Schmo. I'm healing it on my own. This guy's got the best trainers in the world healing him. I'm not comparing. Like we said, we're not doctors. If I was a doctor, I'd be freaking rich. But anyway, it's a very delicate thing that needs to be healed the right way. So I could agree with you. Do I see 6? No. Maybe 4 to 5? Sure. But they're going to make sure because what's the famous saying? This is a marathon, not a sprint. And if they're playing hot baseball right now, there's no reason to rush him back. Because honestly, Edmundo has not played terrible since he had to take over.
Yeah, I don't think he's played terrible. And honestly, again, you can put Stott at short. I don't even think I don't think Stott is bad at short either. I think when he played last time, he had that double play right in the first. But one thing I want to bring up, Anthony, are you on the right podcast, dude? Go Orioles, Gunnar Henderson. This is a Phillies podcast. No hate to the Orioles. Orioles are honestly one of my higher end teams on the AL side that I enjoy. So I definitely love Gunnar Henderson. I think he's one of the best guys on the Orioles right now. So no hate to the Orioles. They're an absolute amazing team. My honest wish list for baseball is to have a Phillies Orioles World Series because you have two teams that are super close to each other. And I think honestly, it would make both fan bases go absolutely wild.
Just a backstory. Anthony is one of my loyal listeners on Birds of the Gridiron. He's a Washington Commanders fan, but he always brings up good topics. So that's why we love Anthony. So Anthony brings up his opinions on anything. He's one of my OG listeners since I started doing my own sports talk thing. So that's where Anthony comes from. And also, the only reason I want a Phillies Orioles World Series so I can watch Bryce Harper take Craig Kimbrell to the second deck.
I would love that.
I'm still not over last year.
I think we play there this season. And I think, honestly, I'm planning on going to Camden Yards because I've never been to Camden Yards physically.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
I've walked, I forget what it's called. I think it's like Orioles Walk. It's like between the Camden Yards, like the little factory and the shops. Because I went last season when the Eagles played the Ravens in the preseason. I went and they had like the Orioles Walk open. So I walked and you could see like the outfield through the bars and whatnot. absolutely beautiful. And I would love to go to the stadium when they play the Orioles. So we'll see what happens.
I took a trip out there in 2022. I went there for Yankees Orioles, and it is without a doubt one of the most beautiful ballparks you'll ever see. I sat right in center field, and it is one of the most beautiful views it's one of the greatest ballparks you'll ever be a part of.
I think ballparks in general compared to football stadiums. Football stadiums are great, but I think baseball stadiums take the cake. I think any baseball stadium that you've gone to or go to is absolutely beautiful. I've been to CBP. I've been to Citi Field. I've been to I haven't been inside, but I've kind of seen the Royal Stadium from the outside. I think honestly, any baseball stadium that you go to is just absolutely beautiful. But starting to wrap up and close our show, our last topic that I want to talk about right now is that it is time to steamroll. I think right now, again, looking at schedule wise, yes, I will agree with Braves fans. This is an easier part of our schedule. I don't care. Again, we all play the same teams, whatever. Looking at our schedule, we're playing the Marlins up until Monday. This should be an easy series win or sweep, regardless of how we play. We play the Mets next. It's one of those weird series. I don't understand why we're playing 2 there and 2 here, but whatever. Again, I could see that being a series win or series sweep. Go ahead.
Does that have something to do with us playing them in London, maybe? Does that have something to do with it?
I think that's what it is. I think they're playing
even it out.
Yeah, I think they're playing 2 and 2 because I think the way that the series works in London, because we're away, I think 2 games in the series were considered home, and then 2 games in the series were considered away, something like that. I think that's how it works. Brendan explained it to me the other night, and I forget what he said, but I think that's how it works because of the London series. So I'm not worried about the Marlins. I'm not worried about the Mets. Mets are the Mets. They always fuck up. Nationals, I'm like 50-50 on. Well, honestly, more like 70-30. They're a really young, sneaky team. I mean, they did beat up on who did they play recently? There was a team that they played, the Orioles. They played the Orioles in a 2-game series. They took one of those. So I mean, they're a really sneaky team. We'll see what happens with them. They're at our house anyway, so I mean, we'll see. And then we play the Rangers. And honestly, I think the only team I'm worried about coming up is the Rangers. They're, coming off of a World Series win. I think they are 24 and something. If I can look at their standings, they're 22
and 17.
So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I want to steamroll over these teams early so that way later down the stretch we don't have to worry as much. We can get an early, postseason spot. We can chill for a little bit. We don't have to win games. If we lose a couple games towards the end, whatever. But I'd rather win these games now so we can lock up a postseason spot and then kind of take it easy the rest of the season.
Yeah. And I mean, real quickly, we're talking about the schedule and all this stuff. For the same Braves fans that complain about us having an easy schedule are the same Braves fans that complain that they had a 2-day off period last year, and that's why we beat them in the playoffs. So that's my last gripe with that. But no, this is exactly what you have to do. You steamroll these teams early, and maybe it'd be nice for the Phillies to win the division, give their pitchers in the postseason, give them that couple day off stretch instead of having to pitch up until the last game of the season to clinch your spot. Because we already know it doesn't matter what happens. It's going to be the Braves and the Phillies for this division. The Nationals are over 500 right now because they beat the Red Sox tonight. They're not winning the NL East. The Mets are not winning the NL East. And the Marlins may not be in Major League Baseball.
Not. Even their GM said we're not making the postseason. So I mean, when your GM comes out and straight says, "Oh, we're not making the postseason," you know that your team is absolutely not doing anything. And I think honestly, like you said, NL wise, I think the only teams I worry about NL wise are Braves and Dodgers. I think AL wise, it would have to be the Orioles, the Yankees, because they got Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. But Yankees are kind of like Yankees are hot and then they get cold and then they get hot again. So we'll see. I think are the Rangers are AL, right?
Yeah.
And then I think honestly, the only other team I can think of, not AL, they're NL, Diamondbacks. But I think with Diamondbacks, and I was telling Brendan this, I think with Diamondbacks, I think we're out for revenge against them because they planted a field in our planted a flag in our fucking field, and I absolutely hate that. So
And they have not played their best baseball yet either. They're under 500 right now. They're not playing their best either. You know what the crazy thing
the
is?
Astros are not NL, Chiefs King, they're AL. We played them we played them a while ago. They're
And
not
they are not
NL.
that and they are terrible right now.
They got rid of what's his name? Was it Dusty Baker?
Oh man, dude, you want to talk about how the mighty have fallen? The Houston Astros right now are 14 and 24.
Good.
Also, just one little last thing before if I just want to say back to our ballpark talk. Another beautiful ballpark is PNC in Pittsburgh, by the way.
I want to go there too. I like the backdrop of the bridges, but going ahead and starting to wrap up here just because we are coming to our time. Last thing I want to talk about is hot takes. Again, this is, one of the newer segments that we're trying to do. And Sam, since, you're on the show, I want to see if you have any hot takes that you'd like to share.
I have one Phillies hot take. When Trey Turner is activated, if it stayed the way it is right now, Cody Clemens cannot be the guy sent back to Lehigh Valley. He's swinging way too hot of a bat. He's another guy like not as good of it as Merrifield, but he can play in multiple positions. He can play first. He can play third. He can give you a little bit at second. I think he has corner outfield experience, but I would more comfortably put Merrifield in the corner outfield spots. But if he's swinging the stick like he is now, he cannot be sent back down to AAA. They're going to have to figure a way to keep him on this roster because he's been too good since being called up since that Red series.
Yeah, I think honestly, unfortunately, he is going to get sent down because I don't know option wise who you can really send down because I don't think you can send down Pache. I think his options are up. I don't think you send down Rojas because Rojas is a good defender. I don't know if you can send down Witt. I don't see why you would send down Witt. I think you would just sit him on the bench. I see your point. I don't know who you would send down. That's the only thing.
I know.
I think my hot take for tonight is I think that I think once I'm going to piggyback off of yours. I think once Trey gets back, Trey's going to go on an absolute tear and just freaking. I think he's going to have the next hottest hitting streak. I think he's going to get up to a 20-game hitting streak and just go on an absolute tear. I may be overextending myself and overhyping his return, but I think he's going to go on an absolute tear. I mean, if you look at the way that he sits in the dugout, he looks like he misses being out there.
Oh yeah, well they're creatures of habit. That's why. I actually have if it's okay if I add in one last little hot take because
Yeah, you're
I'm a
good. Go
little
ahead.
petty about this.
Go ahead.
I understand he didn't work for a couple days. Can we try to avoid Alvarado in a 6-run game? I kind of rather have not seen him pitch tonight. I'm not saying I know he needed to work, but I kind of like to avoid my high end relievers when I can. And now, don't get me wrong, Gregory Soto didn't help that.
Gregory Soto and
Dude.
Gregory Soto and Dominguez, they 9 out of 10 times they're going to give you a bad outing, but there's that one rare time where they come in and they're absolutely dominant. And it's very, very rare. But it is what it is. I mean, we still won the game 8-2. I can't really be mad. They need the experience, whatever. But Sam, I'm going to go ahead and start closing out the show, but I really appreciate you being on. Sam is our number one supporter. For those of you that have been watching, he's on here almost every night, commenting in the comments, doing his thing. I asked him to come on the show tonight just because I think he deserves it. But Sam, where can our viewers find you?
You can find me on Birds of the Gridiron every Monday evening on Facebook at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which Mr. Dalton Holland will be making from you guys over 302 Birds will be making a guest appearance on our show this Monday coming up, actually.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that we can help each other out and get some guest appearances on each other's shows. But yeah, on that note, Sam, do you have anything else to add before we close out?
Fuck the Braves.
always F the Braves, dude. But on that note, everybody, Phillies win 8-2. We play the Marlins the next couple nights. They're on an absolute tear right now, the Phillies are. So I'm glad to see it. I'm happy to see that, we're beating up on these crappy teams. And on that note, Brandon, what are we?
I take Stubby, I take Pache. Oh, what's the name?
Yeah, give me a name.
Stay loose and sexy, baby.
There you go.